the reason I speak of undefining masculinity is because we have to take us out of the box. Masculinity, at the end of the day, we have to admit is performative, because masculinity has to be earned. You have to agree that I'm masculine. And that also means you can take away my masculinity. My masculinity can be threatened, it can be taken away. And a group of men can decide that I'm not masculine. I can be emasculated, but women, well, is there even a word for somebody's femininity being taken away? We have our own word as men. We can be emasculated, but can we do that to women? No, because women aren't feminine, right? That's the way we describe them. You can't take away their femininity the way that you can take away masculine.
What we would say is, oh, she's really in her masculine.
Right? Exactly. You can add on to her femininity. Yes. You can add on, but you can't take it away. With men, we've been socialized to take our masculinity away. It can be threatened. We can be emasculated. That's why our egos are so damn fragile. That's why we can't take feedback. That's why we're so afraid of being vulnerable with other men, because other men can use that as a way to attack us, and we can have our masculinity taken away. And when that happens, we don't have an identity anymore.
Right.
Where do we go if we're not men? Who do we go to? We can't go to men. I'm no longer in the club anymore. This woman has taken away my masculinity. I mean, think about the words that we said. Cut off his balls. She cuts off his. How? Really? How? Are we that fragile that we can't handle a woman giving us feedback?
Right.
So that's again, we're kind of getting off on a tangent. This is obviously something I'm very passionate about, but for me, I want to undefine masculinity and not redefine it, because it is in the definition that causes us pain. Exactly. That creates a box for us to live up to. And when you redefine something, first of all, who the hell am I as a straight white guy to define anything? But when you redefine masculinity, you're inevitably leaving somebody out of the equation. And I was a young boy who felt left out in a lot of ways, whose masculinity was taken from me in a lot of situations, because it's situational. And I can't even imagine growing up being gay, or not being athletic, or being overweight, or being disabled, right? Being black in a white neighborhood, all of these masculine boxes and performances, all of these things have to go. We have to undefine it to make room for anybody who identifies as a man to be allowed to feel and be a man.
Yes.
And that's the key. And that, like you, comes from honesty. It comes from truth.
It comes from authenticity
and sincerity.
Yeah. And so that's the work that we do in our circles and our retreats and through these rituals and ceremony. It's really about inviting men into their own authenticity and reflecting back to them that is enough.
Because we don't feel like we're enough. Why? Because
programming.
We've been programmed to feel like we're less than. Yeah. And which is why it's performative and why we have to earn it, because it's the earning of our masculinity that will allow us to feel we're enough.
Yeah.
That will allow us to feel we're ready for fatherhood, we're ready for marriage, we're ready for commitment, we're ready for success, we're ready for all of these things. We have to earn it. And it's a shame to see how much suffering there is, which is why I actually love the work that you guys are doing. And I love all the different streams that flow into this ocean of oneness, because I believe there's an entirely different pandemic happening with men. We are suffering. Yeah. And we don't have space to talk about it. It's not that there's not space that exists in the world. It's that we have been programmed and socialized to believe that it's not safe for us. Why? Because we've been shown over and over again as young boys growing up that it's not safe.
Well, and there's a truth there that most men, not only women, but have been hurt by other men in their lives.
Well, of course we have.
You know what I mean?
See,
Like
nobody
the,
talks. We talk about we talk about the fact that 1 in 4 women will be sexually assaulted or raped in their lifetime, but we don't talk about the fact that 1 in 5 boys will be molested before the age of 10.
yeah.
And you think about the numbers and you think about, wow, it's not women that are doing the sexual assaulting and the raping of women, it's men. And then you look at, wow, but there's men, these young boys are being sexually assaulted and molested at a young age. They're growing up hurt. They don't have anyone to talk to about it. They can't confide in their friends about it. They feel like they're alone. That sadness becomes anger because it's repressed and unexpressed. And they grow up and they feel the need to exert their dominance and power over another to get their power back. And then they hurt people, hurt people. It's a cycle.
It perpetuates that cycle.
The same thing. And we have to save our boys.